Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for pressing play. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I know I am, because it's actually a semi-decent day in Pennsylvania, and we're finally going to get to fix a weird issue I've been having with my ZR1. All right, guys, so when I say a decent day in Pennsylvania, I really only mean it's not snowing and it's not raining. Unfortunately, it's still around 40 degrees outside, so it's not really warm. But there's a couple things I want to do with the ZR1 before I go and put it away for the winter. And unfortunately, it's getting pretty close to that point here in Pennsylvania. So the big thing we got to do today has to do with the wheels. Now, as you can see, the car is actually pretty dirty. Yeah, I was driving it the other day and it was snowing and raining and all kinds of stuff you shouldn't drive Corvettes in, but I wanted to get as much use out of the car as possible before the end of the year, and it made it very dirty and gross. What we're really gonna do today is focus on the front wheels on the Corvette. Now, if you look at the wheels here, there's nothing wrong with them. They're dirty, of course, but nothing physically wrong here. They just have a big issue with noise. Now, I know you guys are probably wondering, well, what the heck does that mean? Basically, what happens is when you turn the wheel full lock either side and at a slow speed while you're backing out of a space or pulling into your garage, for example, the wheels just exhibit a weird snapping sound. So as you're turning, you'll hear crack, 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 crack from both wheels, depending on what side you're turning to. So this is the sound. So like I said, you have to have the wheels fully cocked and backing up at the same time, and you'll hear a clicking sound coming right from in here. I know what a lot of you out there are thinking. Well, there's a technical service bulletin for this, so just take it to the dealership. Yeah, there is. Now, I looked into the technical service bulletin, and I'm all for warranties. Trust me, I like the idea of having that fixed under warranty, but what they're gonna do at the dealership, I don't think is worth the risk of what they could possibly break at the dealership. I don't know about you guys, but I've had some bad experiences at pretty much any dealership I've ever been to. It's always the same thing for me. You take in a high dollar car and they give you a teenager to work on it. A lot of the dealerships out there will say, oh, we have Corvette techs, blah, blah, blah. I've only been to one dealership in my life that actually had a Corvette tech that looked like he knew what he was doing and actually did. And unfortunately, that dealership is over 2 hours away from me, so it's easier for me to do this myself. Now, before we get into too much of the stereotypical, I have problems with my dealership thing, let me talk about what the process actually is here. So the technical service bulletin to fix the snapping sound that comes from right around this area when turning the wheel is actually just to pull the wheels off and clean the mating surfaces with brake cleaner. So basically just the back side of the wheel where it touches the face of the rotor and the face of the rotor where it touches the back side of the wheel. You would just rub those areas down with some brake part cleaner. That's it. That's all there is to it. You put the wheel back on, you torque down the lug nuts, it's fixed. So that's the reason why I would rather just do it myself versus take it to the dealership and risk any kind of potential fallout from an uneducated mechanic who may not know any better. Now, obviously, that's not a difficult process. Everybody has brake part cleaner in their garage, and to take off 5 lug nuts, clean that stuff, put them back on, and torque everything down to spec is really within the realm of almost anybody's comfort zone. So we're gonna do that today. Like I said, the car is dirty, so I'm gonna kind of get it outside, start the washing process, and while I'm hosing everything down, I'm gonna pull the wheels off and start into this process as well. So while they're off, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the barrels and everything, make sure it's all nice and pretty, ready to go for the winter time. I will also link the technical service bulletin stuff down in the description below, as well as put the actual TSB number up here on the screen, just so if any of you guys don't feel comfortable doing this, you can take it to your dealership if you have one that you trust. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get the car outside and we're gonna get this process started. Cold start. So like I said, the process here is pretty easy. We got the car pulled out. What I'm gonna go ahead and start doing here is getting the front driver's side wheel off. Once I take that off, I'm gonna take it into the garage here since it's not the warmest out there, and we're gonna start actually cleaning the back side of the wheel, and then I'll take you back outside and clean the face of the rotor. Let's get this wheel off through the power of internet magic. Magic. I put the wheel face down onto a nice soft cloth, make sure not to scratch anything up. That's number one concern. Here's what we are working with here. So if you look at the mating surface of the back of the wheel, of course it's not painted. So this surface should never have anything on it. Rust, paint, dirt of any kind. And as you can see, it's a little dirty right through here. Maybe not anything major, but there is stuff there. So ultimately what we're gonna do, like I said, use some brake part cleaner, scrub off the back part of it real well. Then we're gonna head over to the actual rotor face and do the same thing outside. So here's what we got. I have a blue garage paper towel that I'm gonna use and some brake parts cleaner. So I'm gonna spray this onto the towel and then wipe down this area here. And if that doesn't do it enough, I might bust out some Quad Zero steel wool to see if we can get any more of the problem area cleaned. But for the most part, this is all you need. Now, I will not spray this directly onto that hub just because this stuff's kind of nasty and my wheels are ceramic coated, so I don't want to strip any of that coating off. With that said, the back of this wheel here is not ceramic coated and should not be ceramic coated, so this is not a problem to wipe on that area. This might not work. It's kind of tearing this up, so I'm gonna grab a rag instead. The trusty Walmart microfibers.
Five minutes later.
As you can see, it's definitely pulling off some dirt. Just want to clean everything back here as much as possible. So in the actual axle part here, behind the center cap, the wheel mating surface, just get it as clean as you possibly can. As you can see, it's still pulling off some dirt. It's not as much as it was before, so we're getting somewhere. So that's it for this one. We're gonna move out to the actual rotor face now. Same kind of thing here. We're just gonna touch up the area. You can clearly see where the wheel touches the rotor face. We're gonna clean all this area up, try to get off as much rust off here as we can. That's where the wheel actually centers itself onto the hub. Again, as you guys can see, it is definitely pulling off some dirt and some unforeseen black substance. Whatever it is that was between these two surfaces is definitely what's causing the issue here. That should do it. I went a little bit further and took my still in perfect condition McGuard lug nuts and cleaned off the back of them as well, just in case there was anything from stopping these from torquing down correctly. Like I said, guys, these things hold up very well. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it here, but there is not any scratches or chips on these things other than the backside where it contacts the wheel. But these things are great. I'll put a link for these down in the description as well if you're interested in these. They definitely have my recommendation. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get the wheel back on here and we should be good to go for the driver's side. Obviously we got the wheel cleaned up, the rotor face cleaned up. Now we got the wheel back on. Now what we're gonna do is obviously put in the lug nuts. Now this part is not necessarily special, but at the same time, it is important. So these are lug centric wheels, basically meaning the acorn shaped lug nut helps pull the center of the lug nut hole into the center of everything. So everything here is centered. Obviously that's done so this thing spins as true as possible, but this is important to make sure that you get everything tightened down the way it should be. So once we get all the lug nuts on, what you want to do from there is go in a star pattern to tighten them down. So basically we'll start here, go to this one, then to this one, then to this one, and then ultimately finish with this one. Now what that's gonna do is ensure everything again is perfectly centered. I have no idea if this will actually affect that snapping issue, but it is important to do this for a lot of different reasons, and that could be a side effect of it, so why not? Now the actual torque specifications from GM for these lug nuts is 103 foot-pounds. My torque wrench goes in increments of 10, so I'm gonna put it at 110. Again, we're gonna tighten in that star pattern, and that should be good to go. For those of you who didn't understand why I was doing the star pattern for the lug nuts, watch whenever I put just one single lug nut in here. And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it down. So without touching the wheel, As I'm tightening this down, you'll see that the lug nut starts to pull the wheel into a center location. I'll get you close up on that right there. So as I'm tightening this one right here, watch what happens to that one. There we go. So I don't know if you could see that now, but that lug stud is right in the center of the lug nut hole on the wheel now. So that's why we do that. We want that to be as centric as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque all these down and then we are done. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. Like I said, it's not really something you guys can't do yourselves, but at the same time, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, there is a service bulletin. Like I said, all that stuff will be linked down below. If you're having the same problem and you don't wanna do it yourself, absolutely take it to the dealership. For me, I felt comfortable doing it myself, and I really think the issue is fixed. I haven't heard another sound since I cleaned those wheels and took the car for a ride. I knew of this issue for a while, and luckily, I never had the problem with my 2015 Z06, so I never had to worry about fixing it myself or taking it to the dealership. Recently, my friend D'Anthony over at D's Rides had this problem with his ZR1. He took it into the dealership, and the dealership was able to fix it for him. It was really because of the fact that his was so easily fixed that I thought, I'm gonna try my hand at it and see if I can fix it without taking it to my dealership, just because the fix for him has lasted. So there's not any issues that he's having after having the technical service bulletin done. So if you guys haven't checked out D'Anthony's channel, I'll put his information down in the description below as well. He's a cool dude. He has a ZR1, so you know he's gonna have an awesome channel too. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you liked what you saw, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about the content today, shoot them in the comment section down below or send me an email, horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do. I'm gonna have loads of C7 and C8 content coming soon, and you're not gonna wanna miss it. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next upload.